Welcome to the Streets.mn podcast, the show where we highlight how transportation and land use can make our communities better places. Coming to you from beautiful uptown Minneapolis, Minnesota, I am your host, Ian R. Buck. It's time for our accidental annual tradition of episodes about car-free ski trips. Here in the studio, we have Josh Benner, who's a longtime listener and first-time guest. You like to snowboard, you love transit. When we did our episode last year about my trip with Ian Gaida to Colorado, you were the one person who messaged me about that episode, and you were super enthusiastic about it. And Josh, you told me that you have the text here pulled up. What the heck did you message me a year ago?
Yeah, so I was like, Ian, I loved your episode about transit and skiing. Every year I go to the resorts, mainly Breck and Keystone, and sometimes also Park City, and I exclusively use some form of public transit to get there. I've even transitioned to using EV and Hour Car to get the resorts in Minnesota. If you ever want to do an episode number 2 of Skiing Via Transit, I'd love to come on the pod. Regardless, it was great meeting you at the Neighbors for More Neighbors kickoff, and I'd love to join your Buck Hill crew next year, or even Whitefish if you're looking for more peeps to join. Yeah,
because last year's episode, we recapped the Colorado trip, and then I feel like it was just kind of like an aside at the end of postulating what other possibilities are there for getting out of Minnesota car free and going skiing, and Whitefish kind of came up as the most obvious one.
Okay, I was wondering why Whitefish.
Yeah,
I still don't. Even after the trip, I was like, why did we go to Whitefish? But it worked well.
It did. Because I had heard about it. I knew that it's on the Empire Builder.
Okay.
So I guess the main thinking was well, there's no transfers. That's nice.
That is nice. No. Yeah, because that's where when I was listening to the pod last year, I was like, I always I take transit the whole way through, essentially some form of transit-esque, to get out to Breckenridge. Of I take the light rail down to the airport, fly. And then sometimes I take a private shuttle or with a bunch of group of people. But sometimes I take the light rail down to Denver Union Station and then take the Boostang, the Colorado DOT buses.
Yeah.
Out to the...
Sorry, did they pronounce it Boostang?
I think so.
Okay.
Boostang, Bustang.
I always assumed because it's Mustang, then it would be a Bustang.
Bustang probably makes more sense. Yeah. See, you can tell I'm not from Colorado. But hey, I figured out that it's nice and it's cheap, so...
There's a proud tradition of, the kids who learned language from reading instead of, there's so many words, especially in, British literature, that I, learned it just by sight, and I have no idea how people actually say it. And here we are on an audio medium. How did we get here?
Yeah.
Okay, so Breckenridge is in Colorado, outside of the Denver area, far enough out that you have to get.
It's about 2 hours. So that's the common misconception. Everyone thinks, oh, you're in Denver, you're close to the slopes. You're still 2 hours usually.
Right.
So Salt Lake City is actually much closer to the mountains. So last year I got the chance to do that, which that worked. So if I could go straight from downtown Salt Lake to the slopes in 45 minutes.
Okay.
By the bus,
nice.
On the free buses as well, versus a little bit more of a hike. But I've never really wanted to rent a car and do the mountains and worry about chains or the tunnel closes or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm just going to take either a shuttle or the bus.
And so many of these routes that go from a major population center to a ski resort, a popular ski resort, driving there is going to be super congested.
Yes.
And because there's one route that goes there.
Right.
And
because you're going into the mountains.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So you started the ball rolling last year, and then I completely forgot about that message.
Because I think we didn't even really know each other that.
Not really. Yeah. I think we met at the Neighbors for More Neighbors thing, like you said.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I had run into you at all until early in the winter season this year, when I my brother invited me to go to Buck Hill, and so I just kind of reached out to just everybody who's in our friend Discord server And you were the person who like replied like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to go to Buck Hill. Like let's coordinate." And I ended up carpooling with my brother, and you ended up taking the Orange Line down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got to hang out for that whole day. And at the end of the day, you just like looked at me and you were like, "I'm still on for Whitefish if you are." And I was like, "Oh, that was you."
Yes. Yeah, no, because I was just like, wait, who are these people who went to Winter Park? Because I've always wanted to do Winter Park when you talked about it the whole episode, and whatnot. Skiing is an expensive sport. It's not very accessible. So finding friends is always difficult too with it. So a lot of times I go solos. I was like, gotta drop that ball of like Whitefish maybe. And I didn't think it would happen this year.
Yeah, it came together like it came together very, very slowly over the course of a year, aka we didn't do anything about it. And then it came together all at once because you were like, Whitefish. And I was like, oh yeah, Whitefish. And then I immediately started thinking about like, oh, Stina's going to be in Mexico for like 10 days straight. And I looked at like what days those were, and I realized like President's Day weekend. Like the school district gave me, well, students have Thursday and Friday off. Then President's Day off, and then I'm sorry, they don't have Thursday off. We had conferences in the evening on Thursday. They had Friday off. They had Monday off because it's a holiday, and then teachers had professional development on Tuesday. So students were still off on Tuesday, and I realized like, okay, I can take a couple of days off without impacting like, classroom time. I don't have to get a substitute. I don't have to plan for like, what are the students going to do while I'm gone?
Right.
And I was like, that seems like a perfect weekend to go. Penciled out like the transportation plan, and then, asked folks like, who wants to come? And of course you were down, and we had one other person, Brandon Davis, and it was a good little trip. So it came together quickly, but didn't come together early enough for most people to be able to just be like, oh yeah, I'll just take that day off. Like,
yeah, no. Plus, it was Valentine's Day weekend as well.
That's right.
Because that's where I was like, ooh, like my wife had said before, because when I was planning my ski trips for the year, I was like, oh, I can't leave that weekend. And then my wife had been like, yeah, you can. I don't care that much. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe get me something, like a nice treat, but it's fine.
I heard that some like concessions were
so
negotiated.
So I was trying to negotiate, and then I called it out for both you and Brandon. Brandon got the green light, but yes, then our wives conspired with each other. I don't know if she got anything. So it's a great.
And I fortunately for me, like, Stina had already decided that she was going to be out of town. Yes. So like if anything, I would have been the one asking for like, hey, you're leaving me for Valentine's Day. Like, what am I going to get in return? I got a ski trip in return.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that transportation plan, right? So unlike, the trips down to Colorado, which you've done by airplane, I did it by train and bus, which was a bit of a haul, right?
Yeah.
Whitefish, Montana is just one train ride away. It's almost exactly 24 hours end to end from the Twin Cities. Yeah. Assuming that everything's on time.
Which it was on the way there.
It was. We
were early like the entire way there.
Yeah.
We had like extra smoke break, like fresh air breaks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we had like two or three extra fresh air breaks.
Not just longer fresh air breaks, but they gave us extra.
Yeah, no, I think they had an extra one or two as well.
I think I was probably sleeping.
Yeah, or you were still editing your podcast.
I was, yes. Yeah. Highly recommend editing podcasts on a train. It's a great time. Very, very chill. The one drawback is that the train vibrates, and the mouse was all over the place. Like if I tried,
that's what Brandon was wondering. He's like, I don't know how he's doing the like mouse and stuff.
I had to put the mouse on my thigh instead of on the tray table in front of me, because the fabric
tray tables are so far too. Anyways,
yeah,
they're not great for computer work.
No, they're fine for like looking at a computer screen.
Yeah, watching a movie or
right. Anyway, so 24 hours end to end. The train picks up in the Twin Cities at like 11 p.m. and drops you off in Whitefish at 10 p.m. which is 24 hours because there's a time zone change. And the really nice thing about that schedule is that, like, okay, you get onto the train, you immediately go to sleep. You have one night of challenging sleep in coach, and then you have a whole day on the train, right, where you get to, you walk around, stretch breaks, fresh air breaks.
Enjoy the scenery.
Yep. And then you get to Whitefish in the evening, and you have one night of sleeping in a nice hotel bed, and then you hit the slopes the next morning.
Yes.
So you're not trying to hit the slopes like immediately after getting off of a train.
Right. Which I guess that's what you did, or was it the bus that you did with Denver?
Oh God, yeah.
And I heard it was. Everyone talks about how you were like, that was a mistake.
Yeah, I got off of a bus, intercity bus from the Quad Cities, Iowa to Denver, and I got off the bus at like 6:30 in the morning, and then the Winter Park train leaves Denver at like 7 or 7:30.
Yeah, it's still pretty early.
Yeah, so I got breakfast at Union Station, and then we got onto the train. Like, I didn't have time to.
And then you went straight to skiing.
Yeah, I didn't drop anything off at the. Yeah, and so that was coming off of a night of sleeping on a bus, which is worse than on a train.
So worse.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That was honestly my own doing. I mean,
yeah.
Ian arrived in town the evening before by airplane.
Sure.
And so he got to sleep in a hotel bed.
Yeah.
That was nice for him.
Yeah. No, but yeah, the schedule was nice. And like, I actually kind of liked in that sense of like, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if the train left a couple hours earlier, but it was nice that it was at like 11 p.m. essentially ish.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, I had packed the day or two before because I had stuff going on before and I was on top of my shit. But there are definitely trips where I'm packing the day of.
Right.
And snowboarding, since I bring my board, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless of like, oh, you could get off work and like absolutely just pack if you packed.
And that's what I did.
Oh, because that's what you did.
Yeah. I got out. So yeah, the school ends at, well, okay. So we had conferences. So we ended at 4 p.m. I biked home, packed up, and then actually Regina and Jason were hosting a bonfire in their backyard that evening. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to be at Union Depot until like 10 p.m. Realistically, I could arrive there at 10:30 and I would be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still enough time to like hang out with folks at the bonfire and then leave. And I got to confuse everybody by saying, yeah, I'm headed east to go to Whitefish, Montana.
Yeah, no, I remember that because like I didn't even know about the bonfire, and then I saw that, and I was just like, okay, oh wow, okay. But I was like, yeah, I'm already.
Yeah, and I pack very light.
Yeah, you did pack really light.
I had everything. I've got a 32 liter, 36 liter backpack.
Okay.
Which is kind of in that weird middle ground between like day pack and a proper backpacking pack.
Yeah.
But.
It's harder. Yeah. It's weirder with winter. I was like, I have a 40 liter travel backpack, and that's good enough to get like a week or two if you're doing like true backpacking-esque of like Europe or something.
Yeah.
Or like trips. But winter gear is always bulkier.
Right. And I did allow myself to like pack a different set of long johns. Yeah. The full shirt,
base layers,
mid layer, etc. Like. I had 2 different sets of that for the 2 days of skiing that we were doing, right. Which is not strictly necessary, but I allowed myself that. And then I had enough snacks to like, exist on a train for a day.
Yeah.
I took the beeline over. I don't think that there was anything notable about that trip. You took the 94, right?
Yeah. Yes. I took the 94D. So that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Real zippy.
Yep. And
then I handed off the keys to my apartment to my parents because they wanted to do another staycation.
Fun.
for just that long weekend while I was gone. Listeners can go back and check out the previous episode that we had about the first time that my parents did a staycation at my house. We met up with Brandon and we hopped on a train and we went to sleep. Yeah.
Yep.
The train trip back is also 24 hours, but it starts in the morning and in theory ends in the morning as well.
Yeah.
I think we're supposed to get into the Twin Cities at like 8:30 a.m. or something like that.
8:30 because I was hoping if we were on time that I'd be able to like get home and get to work.
Yeah.
It's just like my day kind of randomly starts at like 8:39. So take my first call from my phone and jump to work.
Yeah. I took the first half of the day off, and then my plan was to arrive at the tech center in time for my afternoon class at 1 p.m. And I mentally, like, I had mathed out, like, okay, if we're up to 3 hours late, I'll be able to do that just fine.
Yeah.
And then we were 3.5 hours late when we rolled in, I think. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to be getting to downtown Minneapolis at the time when I should be starting work.
Yeah.
So that morning I like put in a last minute, okay, we need a substitute for the afternoon class. Like, I'm taking the whole day off. But I honestly think that's probably what I should have done from the get-go, because it was really nice to have, like, roll into town and have a day to decompress, to unpack, to do the laundry, etc., and not have to think about work until the next day.
Agreed. Yeah, because that's what I ended up doing, because I ended up just taking the day off last minute, and then I was like, yeah, it was nice, because I was like, I am actually a little tired.
Yeah. And I think this doesn't affect you because you don't work for the school district, but if next year, if the school district gives us the same, like, okay, no students on Friday and no students on Tuesday, I think I would rather take the day off on Friday and take the day off on Tuesday and, shift the entire weekend up a day. So then we would be skiing on Saturday and Sunday instead of on Sunday and Monday. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Monday would just be the travel day. Yeah. That's the main lesson that I learned from all of this is like, okay, we planned it late enough that the train tickets, like, on different days had differentiated themselves, a little bit. So the, like, traveling on Friday was more expensive than traveling on Saturday. So that was was the main motivation that we had for the schedule that we chose. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you mentioned that you had your snowboard with you. It's a lot of stuff to carry.
Yes.
Like, how does that go on the train?
Yeah. So when I travel, regardless, I always have my snowboard bag, and then I have usually a carry-on suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to bring my 40-liter travel backpack, but recently I've moved to my roller because it's just easier, less. And because usually when I fly specifically, then I use another backpack on my back to have my helmet. Because essentially what I want to do when I travel with my stuff is have, obviously my board goes in my board bag, but my boots, my coat, my bibs, my helmet, my goggles, I all want always with me. So if everything else gets lost, I'm buying a new board, but I have my boots, I have my coat and stuff. I can go buy new base layers and all that jazz. But be fine. So that's what I traveled with. And then the train had the unique challenge of, like, food and snacks, which usually I don't have. And I definitely brought way too many snacks.
We had a great time sharing snacks while we were on the train. Like,
we
everybody
had, like, a whole charcuterie board or whatever. And I, like, of course, didn't think to, like, bring a knife. But I brought the salami because I had, like, Googled, like, what should I bring for this? Like, but, like, snacks that and I brought a cooler, which we should, if I do a small cooler, we should combine or whatever.
Yeah.
Brandon had the pocket knife, and I was like, oh, I would have been screwed. I would have just been, like, chomping, like, on the salami or something.
They've got to have, they've got plastic.
Yeah,
like,
I would have made it work with plastic knife.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Do we have any tips for people regarding, like, sleeping on the train?
Yes. I think we did well, at least unsaid, which then I thought about, because I think Brandon asked me of, like, you got to have an eye mask. I think for sure.
For sure.
If you have earplugs, that's helpful, depending on how sensitive you are. I did fine with that.
I just use my, like, Bluetooth earbuds. Sometimes I play white noise through them. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just use them as earplugs.
Yeah. No. It was really nice, though, since that, particularly in winter, I feel like that section of track is probably pretty empty of, like, and, like, no one was really going to Whitefish. There wasn't that many people in our car. Of, like, we all got our own row.
Yes.
You get the both seats. I had to teach Brandon, because he had never been on An Traffic, I don't think, of, like, or on the Empire Builder, is that a Superliner or a Viewliner? I don't know.
Superliner, I think, yeah.
Okay. I know Ian Guido's going to come after me for not knowing my trains. Being able to recline both and the foot rest.
Yeah.
Oh, since something I learned, which if I end up using my rail pass, is I was like, oh, that's 10 segments. Could be a long. If you want to get your use, you're going to end up doing a lot of hours on a train.
Yeah.
You can get inflatable footrest that fill that gap between the footrest and so you actually have like a full bed.
Okay.
Because it's like we both kind of learned how to like curl up into a ball across two seats with the footrest up, but it's still like you can't have your feet over the footrest when you're curled up in a ball, or else you feel like you're falling off a cliff.
Yeah,
so having a little gap filler there would have been nice.
I'm trying to remember where, so I was curled up with both, across two seats, and I think I had my feet wedged into one corner, which I think was the where the backrest meets the armrest of one of the seats, and then I had my head at the bottom of the footrest. Okay. But because I had the footrest so high, it wasn't on an incline or anything like that, right?
Right.
It was easier to do it that way because wedging my feet into somewhere forced, otherwise my legs are just naturally going to slowly ease their way to be straightened out, and then my feet are going to be falling off of something.
right. No, and I think that's what I've figured out is I think I ended up preferring putting my feet into the window side crack because you have a little extra space with the gaps, and your feet can't go past the wall of the train.
Yes.
And then my head towards the aisle. So I tried it the opposite way, and my feet would sometimes get falling into the aisle or whatever, and then that'd wake me up or whatever. So
we are getting really deep into the weeds of sleeping on Amtrak.
I mean,
I love
this.
It's
important though.
Yeah. So the other thing that we researched before going on this trip is how are we going to get around in town, right? How are we going to get up to ski resort? Introducing the snow bus.
The snow bus.
I don't know that it's written out as if it's an acronym. I don't think that S.N.O.W. actually stands for anything, but it is so good. It's like
the snow bus is goated.
Yeah. There's I noted at least 3 different buses in use.
Yeah.
All of them with distinct paint jobs. All of them are old Bluebird brand school buses, but they're all different models. Some of them only have a door on the front. Some of them have 2 doors. Yeah. One of them has some big jaws painted onto the front, and then some LED eyes above the windshield, and the eyes actually look around, and that was awesome. That was the party bus.
That was the coolest bus.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Every single one of them, I was like, there's a 60% chance that we make it up the mountain. It sounds like this this engine
definitely. Which I remember looking at the schedule, and I was good. I'm used to a lot of ski towns have free bus systems or whatever. And I remember looking at the schedule, and I was like, there's no way from the last stop to the mountain it's an extra 20 minutes. We're not that far. And then I guess I didn't understand the geography, because I didn't understand that in town is at the bottom of the mountain,
it's
and
up,
then you have
it's
to
in the valley.
drive the entire way up the mountain, versus places where you're at the bottom, you take a gondola up to the top or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was definitely the first time we got on that bus. I was like, is this bus gonna make it up this mountain?
Yeah. And I mean, the fun thing about that is when you're up there on the mountain and you get to look down and you're like, oh, there's town, and then there's just flat.
Oh yeah.
All the way until the horizon, and that's where the next group of mountains starts over there. But for some reason, there's this big giant flat area.
Yeah, it's on the outer of the range or something.
There had to be a glacier involved or something.
Yeah, Whitefish is, I feel that, the ski resort's on the outside edge of one of the ranges.
Yep.
And then it's flat, versus I feel a lot of the other resorts are in the middle.
Right.
And then the town's
nestled.
The small little valley, but there's not vastness.
Yeah. So the snow bus, pretty good frequency, honestly, usually around 30-minute frequency, but sometimes it was as little as 10 minutes in between buses.
They do their own version of rush hour.
Yeah. And then other times it's an hour and a half in between buses. And I'm looking at the schedule and I can't quite figure out how they decided, like, where are their peak hours and where is the slump, because it really like comes and goes throughout the day multiple times.
So I think I figured it out that it was like, the first earlier in the morning at the start, it's like every 30 or whatever, probably to get employees up and early birds and whatever. And then it goes like every 10 for like rush hour to get to the mountain before open, or just like, a little bit after open for the first hour, a couple hours after open. And then in the middle of the day, it's like every 90 minutes or something crazy. Right. And then it picks back up again from like 3 to 5 p.m. Where you can get home quickly.
Yep.
And then after that, it's every 90 until...
Right. And it does go, yeah. So
I feel like it's very much based off the mountains, like start and end hours, not around getting down.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's my one complaint about it is, they've set up this great system to get people from town up to the mountain and everything without a car. So clearly they are thinking about like, oh, people being here without like arriving here in a car. And yet the last snow bus that's scheduled to go into town is at like 10:17 p.m. and the Amtrak is scheduled to pull into town at 10:21 p.m.
If it's on time.
If it's on time, yes. And I don't expect the snow bus folks to like take into account like, oh, this is how late we expect the train to be. But like, allow for like let us have the plan A that actually works. In this case, they gave us a plan A that's like, well, close but no cigar.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I learned, because our hotel that we stayed, they said they do shuttles.
Yes.
They can pick you up from the Amtrak station, the airport, or I think they could actually bring you to the mountain too.
Oh, really?
Supposedly. Well, I'm wondering if that's if they a lot of times do. Well, that wouldn't make sense though if you're staying there because you're going to their hotel. So never mind. But they said they were also until 10 p.m. and I was like, but for the train, and I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So then I called and they're like, it's until 11, which I'm like, okay, at least there's like a cutoff that if your train isn't late more than 40 minutes, you could get picked up.
Yes. And we did.
Yeah.
They sent a Sprinter van, and the three of us plus another group who got off at Whitefish, they also were going to the same hotel as us. And so we pretty much, I think there was only one seat open in that van. It was a good utilization of resources.
Oh, yeah. We absolutely packed that van, which was good.
Yep. And, in the worst case scenario, if we arrived in like the middle of the night and like, the airport shuttle isn't available, nobody who drives Uber is awake, like it still would have only been a 25-minute walk, I think, which is fine. Like it would not have been fun, but like we would have been able to do it.
Maybe.
I would have.
You packed light. I had my board bag.
I would have pulled one of your items of luggage because I packed light, Yeah.
Hey.
One thing that I noticed about the snow bus is that it's a service that's provided by the commercial
local business association.
Yeah, the commercial association, and they note on all of the materials for the snow bus, like, look for the bus sticker in the windows of businesses in the area. Those are the ones who are part of the business association and are like, pitching in to provide this service. And I feel like this should be a public service. The city should probably be thinking about this. But I love that the commercial enterprises in the area have recognized that, like, hey, transit is a great thing to provide people and also a great thing to brag about providing to people. Like, people love this bus. They're going to want to know who brought them the bus. And like that's the identity of the business association, is like, we're the bus people,
We're the bus people. You don't hear that often.
Right.
But like, yeah, imagine if that like one of the associations in Uptown or something like that was like, we are the E-Line bus people. They could do that. There's nothing stopping them. Yeah.
And I mean, we have had like, associations in different areas, like helping to make like the passport program a thing, right? They were kind of coordinating with Metro Transit on that and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like more and more people are recognizing like transit is a it's a good thing to
because it's
get
like
behind.
the bike benefits, but
Yeah, exactly.
but for the bus.
Yep. Speaking of bikes, the town of Whitefish. Oh my God, so much bike parking.
Yeah.
Amazing.
No, it was nice.
Nobody biking around, at least
saw,
not
like,
in front.
two.
Yeah, it was definitely warm enough,
Yeah.
and there was no snow on the ground in town.
It was weird to me because I feel like I usually see in some ski towns it varies, but usually the bike infrastructure is decent-esque.
There weren't really any dedicated bike lanes in town, but also there didn't seem to be enough traffic in town for that to really matter.
No, the town was pretty small.
Yeah, there was a paved bike trail that went alongside like the county road that leads up to the mountain.
Yeah, which I was impressed by that.
Yeah,
and like over the bridge and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's some like good trails off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Whitefish is, a town that is known for like gravel riding, I think, in the summer.
Okay.
And there's probably a lot of mountain biking that happens at the ski resort. So, yeah. The snow bus doesn't operate in the summer though. So I wonder what the logistics are of like, I want to go mountain biking at Whitefish ski resort.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's for like in Summit County out in Colorado, their system's like the county runs it. But yeah, they do obviously like as climate change particularly has happened, it's like they go very much from skiing season to mountain bike season. Mm-hmm. And so,
and there's not a whole lot of downtime in between.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I think I see their service announcements when I'm out there too, in spring skiing of like when we're going to switch this to then operate more so to these trails so you can go mountain biking or whatnot. Or like a lot of them end up having, like the fat racks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I do always see people out with their bikes out in Summit County.
Yeah. The town of Whitefish is super duper cute. We stopped at a really cool bike shop called Great Northern Cyclery. Didn't have much reason to buy many things there since we were there in the winter and we did not bring our bikes to town. But I did buy a water bottle that is like it's a bag, and it rolls up and compresses super duper small, which I think is going to be useful for like bike touring because quite often when I have a big 3-liter bladder that I drink out of while I'm on the bike. And then when I get to camp, I'm like, well, this is a really inconvenient vessel for water while I'm sitting at a picnic table. So being able to have an actual water bottle sized thing with a valve that is, I'll be able to actually drink out of something while I'm in camp.
Right. No. Well, and I had seen Patrick from Joyful Rides. He had one of those things.
Oh, all right.
And I had like thought about it, but I was like, do I actually really need this? And like, I've done bladders, I've done water bottles on the mountain and stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they kind of get annoying or they leak. Or if you like do a water bottle or whatever, they're heavy or bulky kind of in my backpack. So I usually ride with a backpack. So my wife had gotten like a really cheap plastic one from her company. And I was like, well, let me try it out. Because it was the same concept, just not silicone.
Sure.
And I was like, no, this is actually really nice. Because like I can fill it, drink it on the mountain, and then it's like super tiny in my coat pocket. Mm-hmm. So definitely I will be converting as well for sure.
I love funny little innovations like that like make a huge difference. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, we passed a church that had the most adorable message on their front marquee. Like, hey everybody, Sunday mornings, come to church in your ski gear and then hop on the snow bus to go up the mountain.
Yeah, like all together. I want to know, like, do they have a potluck together at the top? Or like, do they all ride the chairlifts together?
Yeah.
Like,
I do remember seeing a sign up there at the summit that was like, oh, there's like a noon church service at the top of the mountain. Which seems like an amazing venue for that kind of thing. But I just love that there's like a normal church that's like, yep, we know that a bunch of our parishioners are going to be like, yeah, I want to go skiing today. I don't want to have to like choose between skiing and going to church. So they're like, yeah, it's fine. Just wear your ski gear to church. Like it's chill. Right.
Or if you're like the super committed religious person, like visiting,
yes,
you wouldn't have to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
You could do your service and go skiing.
Mm-hmm. I see a note in our show notes here that you're going to cut me down to size on my OpenStreetMap addiction.
Oh my gosh. Every time we got off the train, I'd be like, where's Ian? Or like, what's he doing? Is he just like absolutely glued into his phone, like looking around all bewildered, but not like at the scenery, like looking at other stuff? And then I'm like, oh, he's and then I learned he's OpenStreetMapping. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, like since we had all this extra time
yes,
at the stations on the way there, I feel you were like, oh, I can actually go into the station. Because I was like, I think if we had it, you would have gotten left at a station or two. But you were like, all right, what's this street name? And you're like asking the Amtrak employees inside or whatever. You're like, what's the hours for the coffee cart?
Mm-hmm,
and what station was that?
Oh gosh, that was in North Dakota somewhere. That wasn't Minot, was it?
Was it Minot?
I don't remember. Yeah, it's funny how hard it is to see the address number for Amtrak station buildings. Like for some reason they designed those buildings and I haven't figured out where they put the number. And so I had to go inside, like I had to ask an employee.
Okay, it is Minot.
Multiple times, like, what is the street address for this particular building?
Yeah. Oh, because I think like when we were joking about doing the pizza trick, I couldn't even figure out the address of the station that you get it delivered to.
Uh-huh. I bet if you told them to the Amtrak station, they would know where to find it.
Oh, I'm sure. Which I laughed about that because after we joked about doing the pizza trick.
Okay, well, we have to tell the audience what's the pizza trick.
What is the pizza trick?
So we witnessed a few other people on the train.
Oh, you guys witnessed somebody doing it?
I think so.
Oh, I'd only seen it from Reddit.
Or maybe, okay. Somebody was talking about like, yeah, if you're hungry on the train and you don't want to spend train prices, just look ahead at like, where is the next station? Where are you going to be that's around dinner time? Order a pizza from a local place and have them deliver it to the Amtrak station and just hand it to you on the platform. Great concept.
Yeah.
Excellent.
No. And then I just sometimes where I'm like, China is living in next level. I got on my feed after we got back from the trip or whatever. There's some train in China, like a high speed train too, that I don't know if they actually have a dining car on the train or not, but regardless, instead what they have is you can order food to your seat from local businesses at the next stops.
Oh.
And essentially they just like
they facilitate this.
Group them all.
Okay, uh-huh.
Yeah, and then they, the bullet train stops. They people are getting on and off, they shove the food on, and then they go, and then the train keeps moving, and then they go deliver it to you.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they don't have a dining car, but I was like, wait, that's so much better that you can get way better food.
Right, you don't have to fit an industrial kitchen onto this like tiny. I mean, standing next to a Superliner train car, it did make me like realize like, oh no, I am in a small building right now.
Yeah, we're in a small city
that is on wheels.
Yes. Yeah.
Cue the Snowpiercer references and whatever. So anyway, there's a bunch of like train platforms that have more information about them now on OpenStreetMap because I happened to go on a trip this winter.
Thanks, Ian.
We haven't actually talked about the actual skiing yet.
Yeah, we didn't talk about skiing.
Let's talk about skiing. So Brandon and I were both skiing. We both rented our gear. You were snowboarding. You brought your gear.
Yep.
I think this was all of our first times to Whitefish.
I think so.
Yeah. And I found that the difficulty levels, the difficulty ratings of all of the runs were very well calibrated to my ability level, right? Like every ski resort that you go to.
Yeah. They're all different on how they rate.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like when I go to Buck Hill, I know that everything's on the table. For me personally, like I don't have to care about whether it's a black diamond or whether it's a blue circle or whatever, right? At Whitefish, it was like, okay, I've very quickly figured out that like some of the blue squares are kind of pushing it in terms of like, like I didn't feel like I was going to lose control on them, but it was like I am having to focus and concentrate on like what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
And then for any of the black diamonds, it's like, okay, probably on the table, but I have to think twice. I have to evaluate it before I decide whether to go down.
Right.
And then double blacks, no, not this year.
No, that's how it is for me when I go out to Summit County too. Like when I go out to Breck, I prefer Peak 6 with all the blues. They're just nice. They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Peak 10 I do like with all the blacks there. But even some of them, it can be too fast or too mogully or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, yeah, most of the double blacks are just not on the table.
Right. And the funny thing about the double black diamonds at Whitefish is that almost all of them were the type of thing where it's like, okay, this is rated as a double black diamond because you're like in a bunch of ungroomed, almost like uncharted territory. It feels like there's a ton of trees and everything. And you're kind of like figuring out your own way down. And for me personally, that meant, well, my skis are completely perpendicular to the direction of the slope. And I'm just slowly letting myself like rock back and forth to get down. Like, yeah. I didn't want to die, Josh.
Blame Brandon. He was the one. I would have not. I appreciate it though, because he pushed me at least to like do more of the blacks or the double blacks that I normally wouldn't do.
He likes the really technical stuff.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. And like I'm on a board, so it's even harder on like the mogul, the super steep mogul ones, or like we didn't do any of the real cliffs, but the ones where like they're so steep that like I definitely at certain times would just be like, I gotta send it. I just gotta send it and pick my line a little bit and hope for the best.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt like I fell the most because I was just like, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to like take an hour to get down this one little section to come out clean. Where I was like, I just had a couple like maybe 10-foot drops or whatever where I like missed it and then fell. I don't know. It's probably exaggerating, but it did. But the nice thing is that all the locals were complaining about the snow.
Yes.
And whatever. But I found...
And apologizing to us about it, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely apologizing.
That was very cute.
But I found that I was like, I was worried because, like, I went out to Breckenridge in December, and, like, that did kind of suck. Of, like, you know, it's scraped out, whatever. And, like, Whitefish was never that busy either, which was nice. It's a little harder to get to. But every time I fell, I took no fall damage because, like, I would just push, like, 7 inches of snow, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is kind of okay. I'm not, like... I don't know, like knocking it.
Yeah.
You know.
But like, yeah, the perspective of the locals or folks who like go to Whitefish on a regular basis is like, okay, most years they have so much snow that like the pine trees up on the mountain, you cannot see a single needle on them because they are just completely encased in snow, right? They call them the snow ghosts.
Oh yeah, the snow ghosts. Because then it was the lift was like the ghosts.
The Snow Ghost Express. Yes. Yeah. And I think the way that this affected our experience the most is that like while we did have enough snow on all of the runs that were up near the peak, near the summit, right?
Yeah.
Closer to Base Lodge, there were a few runs that were closed because there wasn't enough snow on them for it to be safe. And so the main thing is that it made wayfinding a little bit harder, especially if we wanted to go to one particular, the Snow Ghost Express chairlift 4. That was the one that was like, there was only one way to get there. And if we made a wrong turn, it would be like, well, we missed our opportunity to get there. We have to take a different lift to get up to the top, which was fine. There was always a way to get up to the top. Like, yeah, they haven't made any like dead ends.
No.
But I found like the elevation felt totally fine. You know,
that was the nice thing.
Yeah.
Every time I go out west, usually in Colorado, like you're at like 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
And you're going up to 13 or 14,000 feet.
Right.
And like you just feel dehydrated. Some people get altitude sickness. My watch is always screaming at me. Regardless, I could be fully hydrated and get a good night's of sleep, and it's like, what the heck did you just do? Like,
yeah.
And then you're out of breath faster.
Right.
I was like,
just feeling inexplicably tired.
Yeah.
Yep.
where I was like, oh, this is actually really nice that like
Yeah, because the summit at Big Mountain I think is 9,000 feet, and it was lower than where the base camp is for Winter Park.
Okay.
Like Winter Park starts you higher than where
right.
the top of Whitefish is. Yeah.
Yes.
And so for us coming from, the Twin Cities is 800 feet above sea level, like felt very appropriate.
Right. Well, and then you have the whole train ride that you're like, I mean, really you don't climb. I looked it up. Like you don't climb until the end of the train ride, but it's still over the last like 3 hours that you at least get, or something like that. Like you get some acclimation there.
Okay.
Which again is nice that we had that night to sleep.
Yes.
As well, so it wasn't nearly as bad. And like you said, yeah, you're just not starting as high versus every time I'm at like 10,000 feet in Breck, and like my body's just like, whoa.
Yep. There were quite a few like green circle runs. They were mostly clustered in one area. We didn't spend a whole lot of time in that area. That was closer to the village. Most of our runs were like we went all the way up to the summit and then like worked our way down via 2 or 3 different runs to get all the way down to whichever like, lift we were doing. And so I feel like this is an appropriate venue for a wide variety of different ski abilities. Like if you live in the Twin Cities, you probably want to get to the point where you're very comfortable on Buck Hill before going out to Whitefish. But, if you're comfortable on I would say the blue squares and maybe a little bit of the black diamonds on Buck Hill, like you're going to have a great time at Whitefish. You're going to have a wide variety of different things to do.
Right. And I felt like there was enough good long blues at Whitefish that I don't know if you guys, but like I was just like
you're talking about like the expressway or whatever they called it.
Yeah. Like I was just carving so hard because it was so fun.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
So fast that I was like, which like I bored a lot, but like you could easily stick to a lot of that. There's enough of those versus like I've done that. I've tried to do that one time at some spot in Vail, and I was like, I might die on this hill, and it's gonna take me 2 hours to get down. So I felt like Whitefish was nice from like an approachable aspect.
Yeah. One thing at Whitefish that I've never really seen anywhere else is how many people there were who were hiking up the mountain and then skiing down the mountain. Like, that was a whole thing.
And consistently, because I feel like it's starting to get more popular of like skinning and climbing up the mountain. Like when I was just in Breck a couple weeks after our trip, I met somebody at the hostel who like she every morning would skin up and then ride down.
Yeah.
We would see the same people.
Now, what we mean by that is like you put it's like a wrap that you put on the bottom of your skis to give it grippiness, and so you're wearing your skis while you're hiking up the mountain,
right? And
then you just take that skin off of the skis and then
peel them off.
Yep, and then you ski down the mountain.
Right. Yeah. No, there was a lot of people doing that. Like it was always like multiple routes. We'd see like 3 or 4 people, like groups of 3 or 4 people, like climbing up the mountain, and like the middle of the day too, because I feel like that's where I normally see it, is like either the really beginning of the day or the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because people want first tracks or the mountain's closed, but
right.
they're trying to get a workout in after work.
Right.
Not like this is my entire day of just skinning and then riding down.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
not a hiker, so I'm never been interested, but shout out to y'all. I mean, you get to save a ski pass too. You don't have to buy a ticket. So, and actually, I mean, speaking of the ski passes, I thought it was very affordable considering like the venue that you're at. Well, and that's what was nice. It's an independent mountain, so it's not on the Icon or the Epic passes. But yeah, tickets weren't crazy. It's not oversold. There were some people maybe on that. I guess it was Sunday, the first. Right, because we did Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
They had mostly express lifts, which was nice. So, but we didn't really wait that long ever.
Yeah.
Except for like maybe one. But that was nice too, because it's not nearly as many people either. So I feel like you got a lot of value of like, and the tickets weren't that expensive.
Right.
Versus like, you'd be amazed, like Breckenridge or Vail or some of those places, like a day ticket, particularly how late we bought our tickets, it'd be like $200 to $300 for a single day of a lift ticket.
Yeah.
And I think we paid like, what did we pay? Like I paid $188 for a 2-day lift ticket.
There you go.
And we only were there for 2 days to ski, but I think their passes, depending on how many days you bought, even with the 2-day ticket, you had 3 days to use it.
Yes.
And then I think that's scaled up. So like if you were doing 4 days of skiing, you could probably take a day or two break.
Yeah. And I think if we're going to do this again, I might entertain the idea of like having a rest day in the middle, in between 2 ski days. Because I think I would like to explore town a little bit more, see some of those cute shops, and like go to visit some of the parks that they have and whatever. And yeah,
I think that was the big bummer about the transit not running on, because the one time we wanted to do, it was going to end up being like a 10-minute drop our clothes and get back, but our bus got so delayed it didn't happen. Versus like I feel like in the other towns, like you can still get from your hotel to town and still see it.
Right.
You know, as long as you leave at like 3:34 and not stay too long.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it is nice sometimes to have a rest day. Or
the views from the top, absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
You can see in both directions. We talked about towards town, there's like just flat as far as you can see. But then in the other direction, like you're looking into like Glacier National Park, like that direction. And it's a national forest over there. So like very little development that's happened out there.
Right. The lake as well. Yeah, no, it was gorgeous.
Loved it. I think that this is, I'm probably going to keep exploring new places that I haven't been to car free, for skiing. I'm thinking Spirit Mountain might be the one next year because I've never been there before.
Spirit is,
that's up by Duluth.
Okay.
I haven't looked at what the local transit, like how close that gets you to the ski resort, but obviously getting to Duluth itself is pretty easy.
Right.
By Jefferson Lines.
No. Yeah, because that's always my thing of when I'm trying to look at new places of like, how do I get around?
Right.
Or like, what are the logistics essentially?
Yep.
I was able to do Salt Lake. That was fun. Whistler, I think, is maybe on my list of, because I think you can get like a bus or something from Vancouver. So I was like, if there was a better way to get from here to the Canadian rail, Via Rail or whatever, I would totally do that.
Yeah, you got to go to Seattle.
I don't think there's a way really to get.
I mean, take Empire Builder to Seattle and then take the the Cascades goes up to Vancouver.
I guess you could do that. I was thinking the one like the Via Rail that runs all across Canada.
The one that's called the Canadian.
Is that what it's called?
It is.
Okay. Yeah, there's not a good way to get. I looked into that at one point. And I was like, no. So.
If you like being behind schedule, I hear that one is even worse than Amtrak. So.
Well, yeah. And like we really were only behind schedule. I mean, we were behind schedule like 45 minutes from the Spokane connection. One, I think the one coming from Seattle was late or something, and so that pushed them back a little bit.
Yeah.
And they kind of made up that time getting to us. I think we were like an hour delayed when we got picked up, but then we made it up like initially. But then the whole ride home, there was like huge snowstorm that is what ended up hitting
high
Minneapolis.
Wind.
We had like the whole 24-hour train ride essentially.
Yeah.
The high winds and the snowstorm, and the winds made us slow down.
Yep.
We were like speed restricted. It wasn't even freight, which is usually the problem.
Right.
Or like Spokane being like 5 hours behind because of an engine issue or something like that at the start of the line.
Well, there was an engine issue.
I guess there was an engine
because when the train pulled up to Whitefish, it had a BNSF engine at the front.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the 50-minute or whatever delay from on the start. But
gave us enough time to enjoy our continental breakfast instead of having to like grab and go.
I really didn't mind being an hour late initially on the way.
Yeah.
It was the extra 2.5. I think we got up to 4.5, maybe
something
with
like
the time
that.
change, and then 3.5 or something. That's where I was like, okay, this is a bummer. I knew there was obviously the chance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's the other main lesson to take away is like, okay, just plan on not doing anything else for the rest of the day, and you'll be fine. You'll be happy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So Josh, I'm thinking this could be an annual trip. What are you thinking?
I think so. I think it worked really well. was really cost effective too.
Mm-hmm.
The terrain was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And everything like scales up well in terms of like if we wanted to have a group, 3 people going versus 10 people going, like, all of the individual pieces of this trip will work just as well. Right?
Yeah. No, for sure. Because I'm like, the train's going to have enough seats.
Mm-hmm.
That's not.
Especially if we plan this earlier, then, we can jump on the tickets earlier.
Well, and that's the only thing I'm curious about is we were 2 days too early on buying our train tickets. And if you had waited, they finally did the annual Rail Pass sale, and it was actually cheaper than our train ticket.
Which is wild. Yeah.
Which, granted, that's the cheapest it's ever been, so it probably won't be that cheap next year. But yes, we should all get on it. But if you are going to do another train trip or two, you might want to hold out for a Rail Pass if you know you're going to travel in February.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do they do a Rail Pass sale? Like
it's like every January. Like
okay.
Now I'm learning the schedule.
It's the kind of, you just got to know.
You do just kind of got to know. Yeah. So because it's slow season, so it makes sense.
Sure. But yeah. Slow season, especially when you got high winds.
Yeah. It was slow.
Well, I'm definitely, I had so much fun with this trip. I loved every minute of it. We had like almost no hiccups.
No, it was very smooth.
Yeah. And town was cute. Skiing was fun. Transportation fit right in with like what I want. And didn't get in trouble at work.
True.
So definitely, yeah, looking forward to making this a bit of an annual tradition.
Yeah. No, it was fun. Please join us. It would be a lot of fun.
The first step is emailing us, I guess, because that's how people get in touch with me these days. Is, hey, I heard a great thing on your podcast. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Oh, right. I got one more question.
Yeah.
Or I guess I got more of a joke.
Okay. Oh, Jesus.
When does a snowboarder take a nap, Ian?
When does a snowboarder take a nap, Josh?
When their skier friend loses their ski.
Yeah. We don't need to talk more about it. It wasn't a bad crash, everybody. I just was going slow around some trees, and one of my skis got snagged on a branch that was like half hiding under, So it was a very slow motion, like, whoop, the ski popped off, and now I got to stop, and I got to go back and get it, and we got to put it back on.
But I think you were also stuck in the like 6 inches of snow.
It was
so
pretty.
It took you a minute.
It was a steep spot of snow, so I had to like figure out how to support my weight while also like, so that I could take the weight off of the other ski to release myself, so that I could walk back and get the other ski. Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah,
it was
yeah. I remember that was my one good zinger of the weekend.
Yeah,
because I had to give my skier friend some shit.
You took so many pictures of me just like on the ground.
That burst photo, man.
Yeah, great, love it. I deserved it. All right, Josh, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of the Streets.mn podcast. The show is released under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Non-Derivative license, so feel free to republish the episode as long as you are not altering it and you are not profiting from it. The music in this episode is by Eric Brandt and the Urban Hillbilly Quartet. This episode was hosted by me, Ian R. Buck, edited by Parker Seaman, aka Strongthany, and transcribed by Stina Neel. We're always looking to feature new voices on the Streets.mn podcast, so if you have ideas for future episodes, drop us a line at podcast@streets.mn. Streets.mn is a community publication and relies on contributions from audience members like you. If you can make a one-time or recurring donation, you can find more information about doing so at streets.mn/donate. Find other listeners and discuss this episode on your favorite social media platform using the hashtag StreetsMNPodcast. Until next time, take care.